Hello, my name is Heather Currey, and this is a presentation on theory-based management, Grandville overview, and recommendations. Let's start with defining a theory. According to Bacharach, a theory is a statement of relations among concepts within a set of boundary and assumptions and constraints. In addition, a theory should include a construct, or rather an idea that is used to explain observations in the theory. The purpose of a theory is twofold: to organize and to communicate. The primary goal of a theory is to answer the questions of how, when, and why, unlike the goal of description, which is to answer the question of what. Maslow's theory of human motivation, also known as hierarchy of needs, is often represented by a pyramid that categorizes an escalation of human needs. These levels include physiology, safety and security, belongingness, self-esteem, and self-actualization. Some suggest that these needs are grouped by survival and growth needs, while others treat the levels independently. For the purpose of this discussion, this presentation will review Maslow's theory at each level of the theory. The first level of Maslow's human needs, physiology, is the most important need to be met before any other motivational targets can be considered. Without the ability to fulfill this basic need, a person would be unable to consider any other needs. After ensuring the first level of need is met, Maslow states that the next motivation is towards safety and security. At the most basic level, this includes the need for shelter, predictability of life, and to avoid danger. Stepping through the next level of motivation, Maslow states that humans need to, regardless of context, genuinely belong. That could refer to personal relationships, friendships, or feel they belong in society in general. The fourth level, motivation for esteem needs, refer to humans' need to be recognized. This directly speaks to achievement, strength, ability, and confidence. It is based on how we are perceived and how strong our perception is of ourselves. Progressing to the last and most complex of human needs, Maslow theorized that once all other needs have been fulfilled, that only then would humans be motivated to pursue the need for self-actualization, or more plainly, be the best self we can be. At each level of human needs, humans are motivated to meet the need and will recalibrate their need, or rather recalibrate the behavior to meet the need. Now that we've talked about the conceptual framework of Maslow's theory of human motivation, let's discuss how that theory applies to the current environment of GVE. Since the change from COO to CEO, the CEO has paid a great deal of attention to issue handling and has had a change in his management approach with employees. For the most part, GVE employees are not impacted at the physiological level. Their immediate well-being is not impacted. As we previously identified, the need for safety does not only include things like shelter and avoiding danger, but also the predictability of life. Floor production employees are unsure about GVE's future given frozen raises and suspended profit sharing. So much so that HR has recently indicated high turnover rate. In addition, those trying to forge unionization are taking advantage of the current climate. Floor production employees are motivated to secure some level of certainty and safety, and based on what HR has indicated, the union organizers have about a 50-50 shot at being successful. A number of the floor production employees do not trust their future with GVE and therefore are uncertain that they belong. As a result, many are becoming emotionally disengaged, and many are becoming angry with GVE to the point that they have explicitly demonstrated their distrust during a town meeting, despite the CEO's previous history of being very open and transparent with the employees. In addition, a confidential document was leaked to the employees indicating a lack of trust in management's ability to be transparent. It's clear that the employees are lacking confidence in management to turn things around. The floor production employees are looking to be heard and acknowledged by management. Because the previous levels of needs are not being met, this level too is compromised, and the floor production employees are redirecting their behavior as the floor manager has begun to cite quote-unquote troublemakers within the unit. The last and complex level of need, self-actualization, exposes itself in some of the more damaging behavior CE is currently seeing. Because of the previous motivational needs are not being satisfied, or rather are being met in a damaging way to GVE, the floor production manager reports that GV is experiencing work stoppages and higher incidence of mistakes. Plainly put, employees are not able to reach their full potential, and GVE is suffering as a result. Maslow's theory of human motivation is not without limits. First and most importantly, though Maslow's work is widely covered in both areas of psychology and management, it is not well substantiated by data. Second, while Maslow's theory is generally observed as linear, there are those who argue that there are situations where one might seek esteem before belonging. Lastly, as their levels escalate, especially the last two, it is far more difficult to measure these needs, both required need and displayed responsive behavior. Some recommendations when considering Maslow and the current GVE environment. The first recommendation is to listen more and talk less. In other words, seek to understand frustrations beyond the money. Maslow theorizes that employees cannot be the best of themselves if they do not feel they belong and if they don't feel good about themselves. Until now, there seems to be one-directional communication to the floor production employees from top down. The CEO already knows there are frustrations about frozen raises and suspended profit sharing. This doesn't motivate the employees to perform any more than necessary, and for some, it's pushed them to become former employees. Up to this point, the CEO has been communicating to the employees but not listening. Piggybacking off the first recommendation, the floor production employees should be given the opportunity to participate in the decision-making process. They should have an opportunity to provide input. The CEO should be soliciting suggestions about effectiveness and productivity. This will send a clear message that the employees and their opinions are valued and that they are not just objectified as worker bees. In addition, it will motivate their esteem, encouraging confidence and a sense of achievement. The last recommendation is to hold the floor manager, Terry, accountable for his negative perception of the floor production employees. It should be requested that Terry provide documentation of his negative assertions of the troublemakers and lazy workers. Terry should also be asked for documentation on any coaching he has provided his employees in an attempt to ensure their success prior to asserting troublemaker or lazy status. In addition, Terry may need some additional training in the art of managing and dealing with people, as well as coaching him to refocus his perspective on how to communicate with his employees. A couple considerations that have not been addressed by this theory and should be placed in the parking lot for further discussion include: 1, Veronica, the CFO, recommends that the R&D office should be relocated and or reduced, despite the productivity and the health of the unit. Second, further discussion and exploration should happen to further understand implementation of R&D's recommendation and the identified 10% risk associated with it. In summary, while there are a number of management theories that can help explain the challenges that GVE is experiencing, Maslow's theory does directly speak to the behavioral and motivational challenges. It is suggested that most of the behavioral concerns have a direct impact on GVE's bottom line, and the organization needs to review the recommendations as a result of the contextualized theory review in an effort to turn the organization around. I hope this presentation was instructive. Thank you for your time.